You mentioned a couple weeks ago that, Caden is the starter, obviously, but
Right.
you expect to see Julian at some point this season.
Yeah, he's playing. He's playing this week for sure.
When you get the data at the end of it, that Juju would have played more minutes or snaps than Salter plays.
Ew! As a 3-star prospect, Shedeur Sanders in 2 years at Colorado broke over 100 records. Now, I know people are upset that his jersey got retired, but when you're first in Colorado single-season passing yards, completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, passing touchdowns, and also single season completions, also single game passing yards, single game completion percentage, touchdowns, completions. It's a lot of accolades. 8th in Heisman voting, Johnny Unitas, a Golden Arm winner, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year in 2024. Those are large shoes to follow. But I think Julian Lewis is going to be able to do more than that. If you're not familiar with Julian Lewis, he's some people consider 5-star, some consider 4-star whenever he'd committed to Deion Sanders in Buffalo. It's interesting how those ratings change, but he is out of Carrollton, Georgia, a former USC commit. So a high heralded commit, a very high heralded prospect that's looking to take the reins over where Shedeur Sanders left off. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is no disrespect to Caden Salter, but I mean, we know you're here for only 1 year. You're a senior, right? You're here to hopefully put some good tape out there. Shout out to him. I believe he actually talked about playing the last game. He played with a fever, like 102 fever. So he's a real deal grinder. But I think it's inevitable. When you have somebody like this, when you have a real deal 5-star, some people say 4-star, USC caliber player, Colorado hasn't seen players like this since Travis Hunter. Like this is that level, since Jordan Seaton. And this kind of goes, that's a whole nother story. When people want to say, this about Coach Prime, that about Coach Prime, you can say what he wants, especially about that time management. We got to talk about that. You got to use your timeouts. But one thing I have been beating the drum on this channel for, I think, at least 2 years, and I'm hanging my hat on it. Colorado could lose every single game this season. It is still going to be true. Deion Sanders can recruit, okay? And he knows how to bring in, Jordan Seaton to the world, already projected to be a first-round pick. Julian Lewis, who's a 5-star, some consider 4-star. And here he was at the beginning or the top of the week speaking about Julian Lewis coming in.
You mentioned a couple weeks ago
Delaware.
that, Caden is the starter, obviously, but
Right.
you expect to see Julian at some point this season.
Yeah, he's playing. He's playing this week for sure.
What do you expect to see out of
I know when I'm going to see him.
What's that?
You just don't know when you're going to see him. I know when we're going to see him.
Hey, man, look, Coach Prime likes to make sure that he keeps the media at a certain base. So, yeah, they are playing Delaware this weekend. But before we even get into that, we are going to kind of go through a small, video and hear Julian Lewis speak about his process becoming a Colorado player, why he did that, and different decisions there. Hear Shedeur as well speak about his stars dropping magically when he became a Colorado Buffalo. Completely forgot what I was talking about, but let's talk before we do all that and get into the bag work. Watch him do what he does. Listen to a few of these videos. Watch the connection. Here's a small little bit of nitpick, not nitpick, but extra details apparently from Uncle Neely about the amount of quarterback play you're going to see from Julian Lewis against Delaware.
It is expected that Caden Salter will still start this football game.
Yes.
It is also expected that Juju Lewis will play in the football game, and it's assumed that that won't be a very short period of time.
And I assume that when you get the data at the end of it, that Juju would have played more minutes or snaps than Salter plays. Like that Juju is going to play more of the game than Salter plays.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Can't wait.
Now, I want y'all to understand, this is Uncle Neely, who is somebody that has a obviously very close, relationship with Coach Prime, very close with the school of Colorado. Obviously, he runs the YouTube channel. I believe he does Reach the People. I could be wrong. He's either Reach the People or the other one. And then obviously this podcast is the DNVR pregame show. They do a great job. This is DNVR. Obviously, they have like a Buffs, they have a Broncos, do great stuff. If you're a Colorado fan, make sure you're following them on X and all the other sorts of things in that nature, right? Now, we hear about that, and it seems like Julian Lewis is going to get a lot of playing time against Delaware, right? And Delaware was FCS, and then became FBS, I think actually this year. So, interesting there. But Obviously, it's a team still trying to catch up. We're going to look at the rankings and look at the matchup too. But let's hear back July 9th what, Julian Lewis was thinking about the process,
Of course, I mean, we only bring big dogs in for recruitment stuff.
Right.
And I mean, of course, the O-linemen and the guys like that, y'all boys come over. Like, let's hang out, chit-chat a little bit, just so they can get the experience what it's like actually moving. And I think at times recruits, they hang out with the older guys that have been there for a while and, like, they don't really, they can't really explain the situation. So, come hang out with the freshman that just got here. We'll show you what it's like.
Hey, man, so he's ready for the moment, and he understands kind of how Coach Prime likes to build his teams. And as you saw last year with the likes of Draylon Miller, with the likes of Jordan Seaton, right, he wants to get rookies involved the best way possible, right? And he's kind of been very adamant about that. Hey, if I'm bringing in a rookie, if I'm bringing in a freshman, it's with the intention of playing. Shout out to Quentin Gibson, by the way. You saw he got a few touches in the first game. I was very happy about that because that's somebody that I was very high on. I think that he's a wide receiver that I can kind of take that Jimmy Horn Jr. mold and take it to the next level. Obviously, out of North Crowley out in Texas, I think he brings another level of speed and electricity to that offense. Obviously, he's going to have to mature a little bit and kind of learn. But before we do that, I do want to check in. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders' name's in the title. What does Shedeur have to do with it? Obviously, I've seen the picture of him handing the keys off to Julian Lewis, but I want to point this out. And again, this isn't something that I pointed out, right? Julian Lewis has dropped. Why does it say Julian Lewis has dropped Julian Lewis ranking to a 4-star? I don't know what he meant. I think he meant on 3 has dropped it to a 4-star after winning most consistent in the Elite 11 camp and having a great showing at Rivals camp. Somehow he dropped to the 7th best quarterback and 44th player overall. We've seen on 3 lower Colorado commits rankings in the past. So and look, this is not just a Colorado thing. This is it's one of those, it's what I'm assuming is an on 3 deal that these teams probably pay on 3s or the Rivals or whatever to ensure that, hey, if you're committed to us, right, if you're committed to USC, you're a 5-star. But if you're not committed to USC, you ain't paying that extra money, well, your star goes away, right? Because it like they perfectly laid out there, after doing great things that a young quarterback should do, he loses a star because he commits to Colorado like that. That's at least what it seems like. So this is what Shedeur Sanders had to say about it.
Legendary, man. Hey, Julian, what's up, bro? Hey, why they doing that to you, Julian?
Hey.
What's going on, man? Man.
He said, you can see what's going on, dog. Don't play that stupid stuff. So it ain't got to be said too much what's happening. They know what's happening. And let's go ahead and get a few more recent interviews. This is from July 10th, right? And this other one is going to be Julian Lewis talking about Quentin Gibson, also with Killian Salter there as well. And then after that, like I said, we'll check in with one more video, and then we're gonna get into the bag work, man. We gotta watch Julian Lewis do what he does best. Let's hear it.
Honestly, it's been kind of crazy. I mean, I didn't expect to come here this early, and I think it shows that Coach Prime and everybody trust me enough to come speak for the team and help lead the team. I understood going into this that Coach Prime was the best man's going to play type of coach. I mean, and that's why I respected it, and I think that's why me and Kate have stayed so close during this competition, battle thing, whatever you want to call it, because we understand what's required of us, and whoever meets is going to play. The fact that they trust me enough to come speak, I mean, it's definitely wild. I try to keep all my conversations with Shedeur and guys like not football based. I mean, that's what we do every second of our life. I mean, football is our life, so when I try to talk to guys like him, I just try to talk about actual people things.
You love to see that. So, but it's not just him getting obviously respect, admiration, and also getting in almost like an uplifting from the likes of Shedeur. And he even talked about the conversation with Caden Salter, right? That's been a very open and positive relationship with a young and veteran quarterbacks. And here is Julian Lewis apparently glazing Quentin Gibson. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just mentioned a bunch of them. We still got Q for 6 back there.
Q for
High School National
6.
Player of the Year. What can I say?
Yeah. I'm just saying, look, this isn't a Quentin Gibson video, man. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna have a lot of fun making some more Quentin. I guarantee you, I'm going to be making more Quentin Gibson videos. I stamp it right now. That boy gonna do something nasty, and I'm gonna be here. I told you. I told you about Q for 6. Julian Lewis told you about Q for 6. But what about, you talk about a QB talking about wide receiver. What about the wide receiver talking about the QB, Mr. Amarion Miller, a veteran in that Colorado locker room? What does he feel about the young buck?
Yeah, I don't know how inspirational it is for me to come out here every day and stretch beside Julian Lewis, bro. Like,
ignore this guy, bro.
The Julian
we
Lewis.
know who this is, bro.
The Juju.
NCAA.
One of the best quarterbacks in the country already. He just has aura, like, you know, an aura you can't explain, you know.
He just has aura. But can he play foosball? Let's see it. So these are going to be a combination of some things from camp, you know, fall camp. Please, I know the rain is getting beating down my door right now, but just focus on you and me, okay? Right? Here is Julian Lewis getting it done here. He's going to roll hard to his right. Hey. Oh, and hey, speaking of Q for 6. Huh? Speaking of him, right? Speaking of that dog, you throw a nice little dot, a dot between defenders on him, right? Oh, I didn't go back far enough. I did not go back far enough. You throw a nice dot, get loose. People are free. He's just jogging. He's just having a good day. And Quentin Gibson, again, that's why I say Jimmy Horn Jr. Just because he looks small, don't mean he plays small. How about another one? Let's give it another one, right? Don't bite that Julian Lewis. Don't bite it. Died. He's dropping bombs to Amarion Miller, and this is one of my favorites. After this, we're gonna get in a little bit of high school. Get into a little high school here. Talk to him, Julian. Oh, I can't play that. I can't. Off the back foot and watch it. Ew. Ew, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Joseph. Now, what does it look like from the high school point of view? Let's see how he cooks up. Let's see out of Carrollton, Georgia, what made him a 4/5 star on the wheel in the back of the end zone. It's sorry about that. Just had to make sure anything that was electrical is put in its proper place. Now, back to the bag work. Mr. Julian Lewis is going to roll right, a little bit of half roll there, deep bombs. Now, I want to, if I could, you know, maybe get my forehead out the way, my ginormous forehead out the way. I want to show you something like you saw with that Amarion Miller clip. Julian Lewis's bag is pushing the ball vertical, right? There's some quarterbacks who like to pick you apart, hit you. No, Julian Lewis likes to uncork that thing and put it in some spots and places. Obviously, he number 7. I forgot where he went. Did he go to Alabama? I forgot. But his receiver, not this one. I think number 7. He went to he was a beast too. I mean, Carrollton, Georgia. They play some good football. And I want to slow this one down. Oh, I think I wasn't. Oh, here it is, right here. And you know, I say like, hey, you know, he's a guy that, you know, pushes the ball downfield. I also want to point out that look how in control he is, right? Okay, well, again, my forehead is blocking again. Watch how much control Julian Lewis gets here, right? Now, again, this is just a high school offense, right? But you like to see him, boom, he's going to RPO. He sees what he likes. Watch what he does with his feet. Gets the feet set immediately. Smooth. Steps into it. And then, like I said, super clean mechanically. Super clean, smooth mechanically. Just want to get it off of you. Now he's going to drop back here again. I might have to move myself again. Deep bomb down the sideline. And boom. I mean, you can't script that one up any easier, right? That one's too easy. He did come out after his junior year. Carrollton made a deep playoff push, but they did not, sadly, win the state championship. I believe they made it to the semifinals, if I'm not incorrect. But Quentin Gibson from North Crowley won his, I believe, 3A state championship. And there you go. And he loves attacking the seams, too. Pushing vertical, attacking those seams. You better protect them seams, boy, because Julian Lewis is out here, and he's going to make some magic happen. So right now, I need y'all to let me know, what do you think Julian Lewis is over-under for throwing yards? Sorry, not over-under. 150 passing yards for Julian Lewis. over and under, and then 1 touchdown, either passing or throwing total over or under. Y'all think 1? Y'all think under 1? Y'all let me know. But one thing I do want to look at Delaware and Colorado stats. 1 second. So as you answer those questions and, project where you I need 2 more minutes, please. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Like I was saying, as you are getting your over-unders, let's talk about the score projection for this game. Now, Delaware, like I said, newly FBS team. Here's one thing that I think people are kind of overreacting to in one way with the whole loss of Georgia Tech. That was a close game, and it was a very winnable game. Even if you take the 3 turnovers away, the defense was doing decent things. The offense was moving the ball as well, right? There's some things to mix up and change up, but you're talking about a Georgia Tech team that is returning some of the most talent in all of college football, right? They might not be the best college football player. They might not even make the playoffs, but in the rankings of cohesion in the early season, they're one of the top ranked. And you talk about how, defenses are ahead of offenses in the early season. Well, an offense that is about running quarterback is going to be easier to get going too. So, give yourself some grains of or some pats on the back there if you're a Colorado fan. And obviously, as we do every week, we go to our ranking. If you don't, Team Rankings is the site I use. This is what we do anytime we look at, outlook for a game. Now, first things first. We're going to see, again, it's just one game, right? It's one game. Some teams have played 2 games. These stats are skewed, but it means something because in week 9, when we're doing this again, and it changes, that's really where it starts to add up. You feel me, right? We get to week 9, week 10, okay, well, we're opening up, and this offense from Colorado is 48th in points a game. I mean, again, they scored 20 points. Is that a big deal? Not really. It'll probably change as it goes. 305 yards per game, 65th currently, right? Yards of play number 48, third down conversion 42. So that's, and 36 teams in FBS, just so you know where the rankings are. Now, here's something that's interesting, something that, I always like to point out. Red zone scoring 100%, fourth down conversion 100%, number 1 for both of those, right? And this is a stat that we're going to continue to watch for the offensive and defensive side. If you can, these are collegiate players. It's hard for these guys to score in the red zone. Red zone defines red zone and third downs. Those are going to define what the game really looks like. So those are the biggest things I point. Hey, are they good on third downs? And are they good when they get in the red zone, capitalizing? That's something I said when we were watching that game live. Hey, this is a Colorado offense that, sometimes the Colorado offense will get a takeaway and won't even score. Right now, there were 2 instances where they didn't score, but that first drive, hey, at least pat yourself on the back for doing what you need to do there. And then from the defensive side, you're ranked number 63 in points a game, 78 in opponent's yards a game, 63 in opponent's points of play, 81 in opponent's yards of play, third down conversion 79, fourth down and red zone scoring 51 and 44 respectively. And then from the rushing side, about middle of the pack, 47, 29, 55. And then passing statistics, again, middle of the pack. No interceptions thrown. They do rank number 1 because no interceptions thrown in 1 game. And then on the defensive side, right, on the defense passing wise, you have some top tier rankings when it goes to opponents passes a game. Again, you play Georgia Tech, right? And then kind of at the bottom end here for the rushing statistics, again, you got ran over by Georgia Tech. So again, those stats are going to look skewed in the first time, but it's more about looking at those stats and continuing to monitor them as they go. So now, from as you can see, Delaware doesn't even have any rankings. I don't know if this is for a lack of data. Delaware is a new FBS team, so I'm not sure if they're going to be ranking them. They have played 1 game, so maybe we'll check back on this. I don't know if we're going to be checking back in on Delaware, but they don't have any rankings here. What they do have, obviously, is some other statistics that we can look at from their previous games. Obviously, they've only played the 1 game, just like Colorado. Their quarterback, Mr. Nick, I cannot pronounce that last name. I'm not even going to attempt to it. But 28 for 36, 77%. Hey, 77% completion percentage, 270 yards, 3 of them things in the end zone. So the kid can score the ball. And then when you look at defense and fumbles, were they forcing any turnovers? That's what I like to see. 1 interception from the defense, 2 interceptions from the defense. How many fumbles? Any fumbles here? Any fumbles here? I don't see them. I don't see. Wait. 1 pass deflection and an interception touchdown. That's what you like. That's what you like to see. So I do want to point out, while I do think this is probably going to be Colorado with like a 3-score-ish, when you get to the end of it, when they finish it up, respect this Delaware team because they're going to come, not like North Dakota State, but they are going to come with some respect, and they're going to try to, shock Colorado. So watch out that. Y'all let me know who y'all think is going to win. I think it's going to be probably something like 48-20. I think the defense is still going to give up some points. I think they might miss a field goal, kick a bunch of field goals or something like that. Or sorry, like either miss a PAT or they Delaware kicks 5 or 6 field goals for the day. You know what I'm saying? And it keeps rolling like that. But y'all let me know how y'all feel down below. Let me know how you feel about Julian Lewis, him making his first time starting here. And I don't even think do you think that after Julian Lewis gets in, will he be so good that Caden Salter don't even got a chance again? Y'all let me know. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't. Subscribe if you like football content, man. Continue to be great. We'll see you next time. Peace.